Oh, hey, are you looking for a great protein snack on the go that's not going to leave you that instant feeling of regret? Try Paleo Valley beef sticks. Paleo Valley beef sticks are farm-raised, made with 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Loaded with all the daily vitamins and nutrients your body needs to shine. Here at Paleo Valley, we prioritize health over profit, have a serious passion for environmental restoration, and animal welfare. Hey, buddy. Consider a higher quality protein snack you'll actually feel good about. Damn, that's good. Paleo Valley, because quality matters.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's stream. We've got myself, Mike Lister, and my co-commentator Riley Harvey over here, and we're bringing you the Guyaba race live from Makuri Islands in Japan on Swift. Evening Riley, how you doing?
Evening Mike, doing pretty well thank you. I'm looking forward to the racing. It's going to be a fast one tonight I think.
Yeah, we've got a short 16.1 kilometre race. There's a bit of climbing there, 185 metres in total. Lots of turns, quite twisty, and yeah, good field size, so I'm sure that's going to put us along pretty quick. It's filling up nicely. We're going to be covering the Cat B race this evening with myself riding. You can see me sort of jogging around here because I'm warming up, and Riley is going to take over once I get racing, and he's going to be bringing you commentary on all the action. You're a bit of a Swift newbie though, aren't you Riley? So a little bit different for you this evening.
I am, yeah. It's not my favourite platform to ride on, but I'm interested to find out what's going on and interested in all virtual cycling. So be interested to see how it goes. Yeah, see what the differences are between this one and the one that I regularly ride.
Yeah, it's you know, we try and cover all different platforms here on B-Cycling News. So we've got Swift, some RGT, My Whoosh. We did a little bit of Hustle City as well recently. So yeah, lots of different platforms, all providing different types of riding, different experiences. So we very much firmly believe that you don't have to pick one and stick with it. We're a multi-platform, multi-experience. Right, so we're 1.5 minutes out from the race then. Riley's going to talk us through the route profile there. You've done a bit of research on that.
Yeah, so as you said, Mike, it's 16.1 kilometres. We've got relatively little amount of climbing through this. It's a loop out, climbing all the way out to the middle of the course, and then a lot of the descending back to the start. Gradients are fairly sedate as climbing goes. Average is about 6% on the climb. Little sections are around about 10%. But I think it'll be quite a fast climbing pace, and most of the riders that are in this tonight will be making short work of that climbing.
Yeah, we're going in a clockwise direction, and the start-finish line is just at the base of the long descent, so where the blue section is. So we've got a little bit of a flattish section to start for maybe about 5k, climbing for 5k, and then descending to that finish line. So it will be downhill and fast towards the finish. Want to make sure that you don't get dropped in that portion after you put in the hard work up to the start line. Right, we've got 15 seconds before the start. Like all races, it is a fast start, so I'm just going to get my turbo up to speed.
So I know there was a new app update dropped today. I am not sure whether they've updated the pack dynamics. I know that's waiting in the wings. John Mayfield's moved over to the new research and development department, and I managed to capture a video of the new pack dynamics that they're working on. Much more fluid, a lot less jerky with the random sideways movements that have crept into the programming recently. Hopefully that'll show an end to the recent yo-yo updating that's been happening, and they'll manage to get this nailed. You can see there some of the riders are just making their way through each other. Hopefully then on the new pack dynamics that there'll be gaps opening up and those riders will look a lot more natural. They won't look like they're just riding through. See Mike Lister there on this flat section. He's pushing out 230 watts there, wearing the yellow and black. Up near the front of the course.
Yeah, so
we got
pushed out pretty quickly at the start there. Managed to string it out a bit, catch some people off guard, try and whittle this field down a little bit before we get to the climb, because I'm not the lightest rider, so trying to use my power on the flats. I was a little bit disappointed with the update, Riley, that there was no World Championship course. That starts this weekend, live from Belgium. I thought maybe, given their history of doing World Championship courses, we might see that on Swift, but alas, not to be.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a continued disappointment, because with the release of the Mercury course, I think there was a lot of assumption that they were also going to release an Olympics course at the same time. But again, that was something that didn't happen. There's not been much. Well, Zwift are very good at leaving things vague, but I don't think there's been much in course development since the Mercury one, which has been, if I remember rightly, it was ready for the Olympics in 2020 and didn't get released till 2021. So that's, you know, a clear year that's been without any course development.
Yeah, they have said that the Mercury Islands is part of a wider sort of Japanese world, so there will be add-ons to this course, to this Japanese style world. So we'll keep an eye out for when they drop and go give them a test ride when they do.
Oh, yeah. In the pack here with Gomez pushing out 280 watts and just peaking up there around about 320. We saw Mike earlier on, he was running around about 220 watts. We've got Mato, Corsten, Petter, Gomez and Matteo there from the Petter Z team. We see there's a little bit of gapping back to the next group on the road. They're not exactly, the front group here isn't exactly opening up that gap and that little descent, and they just seem to have regrouped again. And see a few Tron bikes in the pack there. There's obviously quite a few of these lads like climbing. Tron bike awarded for doing the Everesting. Quite bright if you're watching it. You see Amaya pole there, 260 watts. Very low cadence though, 51 cadence. That is pretty low, unless for some reason they're only getting one crank side reading. Some of the power pedals only read one side of the crank, and one pedal turn instead of reading them both and getting doubled.
So we've got 90 riders in total in this race. That's covering all four categories. All four categories are riding together. So it looks like it's mostly B riders in this front group of around about 30 riders. I think possibly that's because the B group went out really hard, and because of the way the pens get assigned in the start area, the A's can actually be disadvantaged because you have 2 pens at the front and 2 pens at the back, and it means that actually the A group sometimes have an extra 20-30 metres to try and catch up. So if that B group really goes out of the pen with a red hot pace, they can already be on the back foot. So maybe that's what we've seen. I am spotting there on the right hand side a few more A's now. So yeah, maybe a few of them did make it across. But it's always a bit unusual how that those pens are assigned. Apparently it's random. I'd have thought putting C and D in the front two and A and B in the back two would have been, you know, a bit fairer. That is a little bit of an oddity.
So, as I am new to the Zwift racing world, Mike, can a Cat A rider draft a Cat B rider, or are they actually, I know they all ride together on the road, but is it effectively separate races occurring at the same time, or are they all drafting off each other?
So my understanding is when it's like this, when all riders are visible, that also means that you can draft off riders from other categories. That does mean that, for example, C and D riders are able to cruise along sometimes with A's and B's. Gives them a chance to sort of survive a bit longer. Now, unlike the real world where you have a difference between a Cat 1 and a Cat 4, and a lot of that is to come down with rider safety, and you don't want new riders integrating with pro level riders or very good riders that have been on the circuit for a number of years, very skillful. We don't need to worry about that in the virtual world. So putting all the riders together, that's okay. It does mean that when the results come through, all the results will be based on each individual category. So you will get a result at the end that says you finished 4th in Cat B, for example, or 1st in Cat A. So on the right hand side as we're riding, it gives you the overall, but on Swift Power at the end of the race, you'll be able to see your position within your category. Sometimes what will happen is that races are set so that the categories go off at 1 minute intervals to avoid this drafting of each other. Sometimes you won't be able to see the other groups at all. There's a few different settings that the event organisers can use within the Swift platform.
Well, we've got a little bit of pause in play here. I'll just mention our sponsor, PaleoValley.com. Paleo Valley provide lots of high quality products to support the paleo diet. We're sponsored by them, and by visiting PaleoValley.com and using our code Cycling15, you will be entitled to 15% discount off any products that you order with them. They've got some fantastic deals, and they also have no quibble returns. They're a great company, and the beef sticks that they have are a fantastic product. I've just had a jalapeno one, and yeah, they're great, really tasty. But they do some fantastic vitamins, and the whole ethos is about having really high quality products over making massive profits. So, you know, everything that they source for their vitamins and minerals is really ethically done and from really high quality sources. So it's PaleoValley.com, and the code is Cycling15. Recommend you head over there and have a look at the products. So you'll find something interesting that you'll like, something that you'll take away from that. Just seeing Mike's being dropped off the back.
Jalapeno one is. I started thinking like your jalapeno beef stick and thinking that would not be ideal for me before a race.
Well, fortunately, I'm just talking and not doing much racing, but I do have their bone broth bars, which are really nice and very easy to carry for a great snack. The apple and cinnamon one's really nice. The bone broth ones have the nice advantage as well. They've got quite a lot of collagen in there, so collagen, as most cyclists will know, it's a real buzz product at the moment. Great for helping to repair ligaments and helping to repair cartilage and damage to the muscles. So the bone broth bars are really good, easy to transport as well.
Yeah, I'll check those out once I finish my ride, get some recovery in. I've been using the vitamins as well. The neuro effect one is good because it's good for the body and good for the mind as well. So it allows me to focus on these races. There's a lot more of a tactile element as well when you're riding indoors. Got to be a lot of data on your screen. Not like riding outside where you're just maybe looking at your Garmin head unit or your Wahoo head unit. But when you're looking around, you can see the data of other riders, how far you've got left to go, your speed. There's a lot of information on the screen that you're trying to take in at the same time as riding. So being mentally alert, especially when you're tired, when you start getting towards the end of an effort, is really critical. That you're still able to think clearly, and you can see perhaps other attacks going up the road. There's a lot to judge. So having that mental clarity as well as the physical side is important.
Just seeing the speed reducing slightly. You're just coming up onto the inclines, the early parts of these slopes now, Mike.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of a 4% section. I think we're just on a 2% section at the minute, sort of just levelled off a tiny little bit. How far in are we? We're 4.9 miles, so not quite halfway. We're just coming up to halfway. So yeah, we should be hitting a sort of sharp right, and then it will start climbing with a bit more intensity before we then start that descent. So around about 3.2 miles or 5.5 kilometres, that's when we'll start descending again back towards the finish line. I've not done much racing on this course or this Mercury World, so I'm a little bit unsure where the power-up points are. So I've got a drafting power-up at the moment, which gives me a bit of a drafting boost. There's the lightweight power-up, the aero power-up also available. So I got that power-up when we came out of the pens, went through the start-finish line, but I'm saving it because I don't know when I get another chance to get one. So I don't want to use it too early. I'll probably use it if I see the banner coming up and try and gamble to get a aero power up. But we'll just have to play it by ear. I need to get some more experience in this Mercury Island world. We take a left now onto the dirt road. So this loops up into the hillside a little bit. So there will be a bit more climbing. So when you see there the red banner, on that left hand side, that sort of red post flashing red, that indicates the start of the climbing section there, the climb segment. So red banners like that indicates a climb, green banners indicate a sprint. So I can see that, and I know that we're going to be heading uphill very shortly. Here we are, 4%.
So at this point in the game, heading up in this area, Mike, I would expect that the lightweight power-up would be of more advantage to you than the drafting. Are you looking to gain the drafting so that you can use it on the descent?
Yeah, it could be useful to use that. Maybe try and get a bit of a breakaway on the descent. So use it to slingshot through the pack. But also the gradient does come into play as well. So I know you mentioned at the start of the show there was a short 10% section. That might be a good time to use the feather power up. But actually when it's 3 or 4%, you're still going fairly quick, so drafting perhaps plays more of an important role in the the rider dynamics than the lightweight power up. You see it is starting to break up a little bit now. A couple of A riders just moving towards the front. A riders tending to have a better watt per kilo metric, which allows them to accelerate up these hills.
Yeah, the group's definitely thinning out. Saw there was a rider, Jorg Stays, who was having some issues. He had an outage and then he came back, but he looked like he'd had an outage again. I don't know whether it's permanently the second time around. But it's definitely thinning out as you starting these climbs.
So there we are on that little 10% section now, only briefly, back down to 8%. But yeah, I've had a little technical, my heart rate monitor once again disconnected. do seem to struggle on Swift with that. Works fine on RGT every time. Not sure what that's all about. The rider with some disc wheels, that's a brave move. Coming up this gravel climb.
So for those not aware, with Zwift, unlike some of the other platforms, the wheels, the bikes, and some of the equipment does have an effect on how well the bikes perform. I think the Tron is generally believed to be the best bike, best all-rounder bike, but then some of the other bikes are better for descending, and some of the bikes are better for climbing.
Yeah, that's right. The Tron's a good all-round bike. Of course, like today, with a bit of uphill and some downhill, it's a steady workhorse. There are some lighter bikes which are better up, maybe Alpha Swift, where it's just a solid climb. And then there's TT bikes and bikes which are a bit better on flatter courses. So it looks like we're coming towards the top of the climb, I think. So it's going to level off in a minute. I'm currently in third place.
The Mercuri course, a recent addition, as Mike said, themed on Japan. And you can see that you're going through cherry blossoms at the moment. It's mostly bamboo, these little rickety style wooden bridges, and the classic arches from the Japanese architecture. Very atmospheric. The dust kicked up off the roads can make it quite hard to see what the riders in front of you are doing when there's a big bunch in front of you. You can lose track slightly of whose wheel you're on.
Yeah, sometimes there's an opportunity when it's dusty to attack, because the riders who are maybe 10th wheel or back, they can't see you because of that dust. I'm just being caught here by some Peta Z riders. Here they are, they've caught me up. There's still a little bit more climbing to go, then I can see the arch up ahead now on the little mini map. Not too far off, and then it'll be downhill to the finish.
Amador and Matteo there pushing out 300 plus watts. Cadence is dropping because of the climbing, down at around about 80. Quite a steady heart rate at 170-ish.
Yeah, it's a fairly steady climb. There's only that one moment where it got up to 10% gradient for a brief section. 7 or 8%, but actually not too bad. But it has done a bit of damage and strung things out. Pretty much crested that now as we go over this bridge. So we've got two leaders. They've got a 13-second lead over the third place rider. And then they're 5 seconds ahead of a little trio, which includes myself. We're just about to come through. Well, you see this rider on screen in third place.
Rakitin just going
So
through
they're
the
taking
there.
Yeah, that's interesting. That the rider, I'm in 6th place and I've gone through the arch, but only 3 riders were showing on the Temple KOM leaderboard then. That was interesting. Alright, we're going to start descending in a second then. There's 2.5 miles, 4 kilometres to go. And I can see the front two are trying to work together.
So momentarily there, one of the Peter Z riders had their power up shown above their head.
Actually, yeah, you mentioned that KOM banner, that would have been a power up opportunity, so I've missed that. Wasn't thinking clearly, need some more of that. those neuro effect tablets, get my brain working. I'm a bit confused by the leaderboard, I'll be honest. But I'm sure we'll figure out. I think we've caught a rider, maybe that's what's happened. I think we've caught that Rakuten. So there's now 2 up the road and a little chase group of 4. And we're descending quickly now towards the finish.
Are you just being slightly distanced there, Mike, as those riders are working together? I think Mike's just concentrating on the riding for the moment. It looks like he's been distanced slightly as those riders have started working together to break free from Mike, and he's putting in a little bit of effort now to try and recover that distance.
Yeah, I think I've just been caught in the dust a little bit, and 3 teammates have put in a little bit of a spurt to try and distance me. It's a bit slower on this like dirt gravel section as well. It does slow you down. It does have a increased rolling resistance.
And I think with some of the trainers, I think the Tasek Neo, it has a rumble effect on it as well, if my memory serves me. Yeah, Rakuten's being distanced by his 2 teammates as well at this moment in time, as they're going back through the village area. I think we're with the...
Yeah, I just caught them. I wonder if they blew up a little bit on that climb, went a bit too hard, and now they're suffering on this downhill. They're still putting out a little bit of power, so I don't think it's a technical. And it looks like, oh no, it was just the leaderboard being a bit weird. Thought I'd caught one of the leaders, had also had an issue then and been caught. It's come back together.
And just going past the big claw there sticking out of the mountainside. Another feature of the Zwift worlds is some of the rather unusual scenery that they've added. That's definitely not natural. Just see it in the distance there, the big lobster claw, dragon's claw. As Mike's continuing to descend here at 68 watts, definitely not putting in much effort at this moment in time. See the staged countryside, the plateaued gardens coming down the hillside. Many of these turns in Zwift can be actively chosen if you're not in a race. When you come up to the junction, you can choose to turn right or left quite often. Some of them are just scenery, but more often than not they're active turns. Mike's putting the power down a little bit now, up over 300 watts. Finish line is in sight. Have we got any power-ups left to use, Mike? Might be worthwhile using them now, not too much longer to race. 470 watts, power up on. That's the Flamme Rouge hoop that we've just gone through there. Some other riders coming through there, using power-ups, getting close to the end of the race.
You see them doing the super tuck as well there, just drafting behind their teammates.
So do you manage then to drop that little group of PETA Z riders that you were working with then, Mike?
A couple managed to pull away from me, and then one of them did get dropped behind us. So yeah, just thinking through the results, looks like that early attack lead did do some damage. So there's quite a few A's who are further down the field. You'd expected them to be a bit higher up. So interesting that that's happened. That was won by a Cat A rider. The rider there on your right hand side on a TT bike, so they've had no drafting through this event. Perhaps just going for a slightly harder workout.
Yeah, maybe a solo effort, or the training for an event, so they didn't feel that they wanted to select an alternative bike. There we go, we've got the top 10. So, Luke Dix coming in at a time of 24 minutes and 14 with a 5-second gap over Robert Matto of Gibraltar. And then Pello Osoro from PETA Z in with a gap of 18.56 seconds. Luisma Adem PETA 19 seconds plus. And Steenbang in 5th. 6th was Lex Fawn. 7th Daniel Escalona. 8th Amador Mateo, another PETA Z rider. 9 is N Camos, and 10th is Anna Dilana.
Yeah, so there was a lot of PETA Z riders in the top 10. Not all of them there with then team tag on their names, but looking on the inside the Swift client itself, I can see 6 inside the top 10 there. And Delana there is actually Anna Delana is a Movistar rider, so she's obviously done quite well in one of the previous Swift academies, and there was the Movistar training competition event as well. So again, surprising to see her down in 11th. Perhaps that early fast start maybe just caught out a few riders there. A good decent workout there, 20 minutes, 24 minutes, actually a little bit longer than I thought it would be. So yeah, that was a good workout, nice solid effort. So, 253 watt average.
Good spread of times there between the winner at 24 minutes and 14 and 10th position, back 45 seconds back on those. It had split up and broken up quite a bit, so quite interested to see that, with the next nearest to the winner being 5 seconds behind, and then a big gap back to 3rd.
Yeah, I think perhaps Luke had a good sprint, a decent sort of power sprint at the finish. You see there, 4.5 watts per kilo for Luke, 4.6 for Robert, but Luke was actually averaging 317 watts to Robert's 260, so 50%, sorry not 50, 20% higher wattage. And I imagine that as they came towards the finish line, he was able to launch a more powerful sprint that allowed him to pull away from Robert at the finish. But a range of weights, watts per kilo. So generally 4.6, 4.5, 4.7 in the top 5 there. Right, well I'm going to go for my cool down. And there's the rest of the top 20. You can see again, just quite a big time gap. 2 minutes 37 between 1st and 20th, and that's only over a 16-kilometre race. So that really shows, although it wasn't a very big climb, I'd have said, it did really blow things up and spread things out.
Yeah, 18th
How did you find that ride looking at a... So I just said, hey, you're watching a Swift race there for one of the few times you've done that. What did you make of it?
It's quite different. It was a little bit difficult to follow it with the categories and just trying to figure out who was in what position in the actual cats. Just wanted to mention that York Say's 18th position, that they had a couple of power outages that I saw, so I think they've done very well to get into that position to finish as high up as they did. They probably would have done much better than that had they not had power outages. But yeah, it's quite a different feeling, quite a different effect. Be interesting to watch some more and get into the Zwift of things.
Well, I think on Thursday I'm going to be racing in the Dirt Doozy, which is Thursday morning UK and USA time, and then possibly I'm going to be riding in the Dirt Data Day on Saturday as well. So keep an eye out for those events coming up later in the week, and we'll be bringing you some events from all around the virtual ecosystem next week as well. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, Riley, for your commentary as I was riding up that hill. Hope you enjoyed your time on Swift today. I'm going to wrap up there. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone.
Okay, you go and get yourself some recovery, Mike. I'm just going to quickly mention thanks to our sponsor, PaleoValley.com. If you do enjoy any of the paleo type products, head over to PaleoValley.com, use the code cycling15 and get yourself an exclusive discount. It's only available through ourselves. Also, we push these streams out to Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on one of those medias, if you could like and subscribe and hit those notifications, that does help us to keep putting out some quality broadcast for yourselves. And we also push it out to estv.co. So if you're near an internet-enabled TV, most of them allow you to download the estv.co app, and you can keep up with all of your virtual cycling and any virtual sports that you follow. And there's a lot more esports now available on TV and on dedicated channels like estv.co. So it's great having you along tonight, great having a chat with you and following the racing, interesting and fast, and hope to see you again next time.